Let's review theme parks. I'm Denise from Travel Brilliant. In this past year, I've done a ton of traveling. I've been so fortunate to be invited out from some of our major partners from Walt Disney World to Universal and experience their product. So go back to review my last video where I talked about Virgin Voyages. But today I'm going to talk about theme park travel. So we are going to take both Disney and Universal and talk about them in this video. And I'm going to start with Disneyland. So my family and I were just in Disneyland in February. I've been several times, but for example, my son went when he was very, very little and doesn't remember it. So now that he is almost 11, this was really his first experience at Disneyland, and he's converted. Both he and my husband say that they want to go back to Disneyland before they go back to Walt Disney World. And we're a family who's been to Disney World more than a dozen times. So that is saying something. What is so special about Disneyland? Besides the nostalgia being the original park, we stayed on property. We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, which is also the original hotel. It's also gone through some major refurbishments since its first opening, but there is that sense of nostalgia when it comes to that property. And the ease of getting around in Disneyland is significantly different from Disney World. So whether you stay at the 3 official resort properties on Disneyland Resort or any of those good neighbor hotels kind of on that major strip, you are within walking distance to enter the parks. And then those 2 gates are right across from each other. We have Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure. So it is very easy to navigate between the 2 parks just by walking. There is also a monorail. So we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. We were able to take the monorail. And when you take the monorail, it literally drops you in to the park right at Futureland. So it is a really easy vacation when it comes to navigation. I also think it's a park that allows that Genie Plus to work a little bit easier without having to kind of bounce all over the place. And there is a set price. You can book that as part of your ticket when you initially book, and it's not going to fluctuate day to day like it does in Walt Disney World when it comes to pricing. So there are some pros. And I do think that between the 2 parks, there's enough classic and new rides to keep everybody happy. In Disneyland, we do have our classics, right? We have rides that are just very, very sweet and very, very nostalgic. We also have new rides and new innovation and new experiences. So I think it's a beautiful mix. We ate at the Carnation Cafe and we had Walt's chili, right? There's a lot about the history of Disney kind of tied up into the Disneyland park because it's the only park that Walt actually ever visited. He never got to visit any of the parks in Florida after they opened. So then we also have California Adventure. Now, you know that California Adventure has over the last decade done some major refurbishments, and Pixar Pier, San Francisco, and Cars Land and Avengers Campus are all newer refurbishments. I love how Pixar Pier looks. I love the feel of it. It really took what felt kind of like a theme park we could see anywhere in the country and turned it into something that truly felt Disney. San Francisco had the best food. The food was amazing. The theming is really, really cool in that area. There are no rides, but it is a really cool area to be able to get something to eat and just kind of experience it just was very well done in terms of its aesthetic. Avengers Campus. I think Avengers Campus is better than Galaxy's Edge. Now, I know some people don't love Avengers Campus, but here's why I love it. The immersion of those Marvel characters always doing something. There is always something happening, whether it's the show at the Quinjet or the Dora Milaje or the Spider-Man show or just characters kind of being out and about, the Doctor Strange show. Everything is always kind of happening. I love the food there. Pim Particle Punch is really delicious. It's just such a fun, immersive land that I wish Galaxy's Edge was. So Disneyland really charmed my family, and I think that for a family that's looking to vacation, do a Disney vacation, feels overwhelmed by Walt Disney World, Disneyland's a beautiful choice. Now let's go to Disney World. We have been a dozen times. We know those parks inside and out, front and back, but they're always adding something new. We went in February and my husband's goal, actually we went in January. My husband's goal was to ride Tron and we got to ride it. It is such a cool ride. Walt Disney World is a lot though. There's 4 parks. It's a tremendous footprint. There are more than 20 resorts. There's so much to do. Where are you going to stay? Are you going to get a dining plan? The Genie Plus, you have to buy day to day. So I think that Disney World has become a little bit overwhelming for people, and I don't blame them. One thing that Disney World has that I was a little disappointed in Disneyland is the resort bars and lounges. In Disney World, at any of those resorts, you go to the bar or lounge, you can get a seat, get a drink. In Disneyland, even the pool bar, you needed to have a reservation. So I wasn't used to that because I never know when I want to just take a break and get a drink or a snack. We like to just go down to the lounge. Then last trip, my son and I went down to the lounge at the yacht club and got mocktails and just had like a little mommy and me moment. So that is kind of my only big complaint about Disneyland is like the ease of being able to like sit in the lounges without having a reservation. But Disney World is always going to be so popular, especially with the families from the East Coast, because it's so easy to get to. And again, there's so much to do, almost too much. There's a lot going on at Walt Disney World. Now, let's talk about Universal. In this last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to take agents down to Universal for an official agent training. We call these FAMs, or familiarization trips. So the reason that it's so important for a travel agent to take trips like this is not only do we get classroom training, so we learn about things that we maybe haven't learned about before, any new updates. We got some information about Epic Universe. We go on resort tours, so we visit those resort properties. I've been lucky to see all of them, but again, it's so great for the agents to be able to be on those properties, see them, see the rooms, see the pools, see the restaurants, because we can make more informed recommendations for our clients. And then, of course, I took the agents through the parks and we rampaged through those parks and did just about every ride that you could ride. And that is also important, right? If you're a family with little kids or kids that might be fearful, or you have an aversion to 3D, or you get motion sickness, being able to tell you what the ride experience is really important for us. So Universal is great. And kind of for me, the difference between a Disney park and a Universal park, aside from the Wizarding World, is that Disney's are more theme parks. They're about the theming and the experience to your favorite characters from the Disney Star Wars Marvel Universe. Universal is an amusement park. Other than the Wizarding World, it is about the rides. It's about coasters and thrill rides. And, it's a very different sort of focus. Now, the Wizarding World is the best and most immersive experience of any of the parks. I think that they have set the bar. And my favorite place to be in the evening is in Diagon Alley with a snack, a pumpkin pasty, some ice cream, just watching families doing magic, right? Using those wands and creating magic and watching the dragon breathe fire. It is, no pun intended, a truly magical experience. So I love the Wizarding World. It's also easy. When you're on a resort property with Universal, you are in any of those resorts that have the water taxi, you clear that security before you make it to City Walk. Otherwise, you have the bus and then you do security at City Walk. But it's just easy. Again, parks are right next to each other. You can walk or take that Hogwarts Express. You've also got Volcano Bay, which is a great water park, the best water park in Orlando, I think. And I don't like water parks, but I love Volcano Bay. Now, next year, Epic Universe is opening and it is going to blow the doors off the experience for theme parks in Orlando. If it turns out anything like the hype, we've got a new land that has portals to different experiences, classic monsters, How to Train Your Dragon, a new Wizarding World park, and Super Mario Land. These are all going to be very immersive experiences, and I think that it's going to really put a bee in the bonnet over at Walt Disney World. I think it might provoke them to do some more innovation. They've been sitting on their laurels for a little bit. We need a lot of refreshes in many of the areas of Walt Disney World, and how are they going to open a new park? Universal's going to have a new park, an entire park open in the time that it took Moana Journey of Water. I think Disney can do better, and I think that this is going to be just the push they need to do that. So I'm really excited about the landscape moving forward. Again, those are 3 very different theme park experiences, all amazing family vacations. We have several agents here at Travel Brilliant that specialize in family vacations and are experts in Disney and Universal. So we would love to help your family plan that next vacation. You can always hit us up here in the comments, or you can go to travelbrilliant.net and look at the entire team and pick the agent that is right for you. If you guys have any questions about theme park travel, drop them in the comments.